Awesome.
Yep, Facebook is good.
Awesome. Welcome back, party people, magical blessings. Welcome to the second day of our workshop with the elemental dragons and elemental fae guardians. Um, today's the meat and potatoes. To be honest with you, yesterday we covered the four elemental dragons that run each quarter of the circle to complete the full circle, which I like to call the circle of trust, because that's when it comes to working with the elementals and the fae, is trust and respect and loyalty. Um, Trust is huge. You may not see them, but they're there. Um, the elemental fae came into existence probably in the British Isles, Scotland, before even the Celts. They were descended by the Tuatha Danann, which is the tribe of Dana. Now, in this tribe of Dana, they have a court system, and there's two courts of Fae, and we're going to cover those right now to start off the elementals before we get into each direction. Um, East, air; south, fire; west, water; earth, north, to complete our full circle. But the two courts of Fae is the Seelie, which is your higher light, and summer. The Unseelie is your lower light, just above darkness. They are mystical beings. They are tricksters, so there is some dark involved in this today. And they're part of the Winter clan. Now, of course, there's different brackets, and there's um, members under the queens of these two courts. So the queens of each court, the queen of summer is Tatiana, and the queen of winter is Mab. Now, these names were derived from Shakespeare. Um, the Fae and Elementals are huge fans of literature and folklore. The true names of these queens, no one will ever know, because of the fact that if you do know their true name, you can hold them hostage and captive, and that what has occurred centuries ago in the British Isles and in Scotland, which have them around daily, every day, even currently. They're out there. Now, when it comes to the elementals, they're they're loving creatures. They love Mother Nature. They're guardians of Mother Earth and all of nature in its finest beauty, from flowers to the rivers, the waterfalls, to the mountains, to the volcanoes. All of it is beauty. It's Mother Earth, it's nature, and that's where you're going to find most of them. They don't like city life too much. You know, their main mission is to protect, um, and how things are run on their realm. Now, the elementals are the seventh dimension. They're 7D beings, and we're not too far off. I mean, we're 5D currently with the crystalline grid with Mother Earth. So we're not much closer to them than we may think, because it's vibration. And if you could reach a higher vibration, you can literally see these elementals out and about through your forests, um, waters, all sorts of rivers, waterfalls, and those are, a lot of water elementals. But in the forest, you have more of your fire elementals as well as your earth elementals. Now, there's some do's and don'ts when it comes to working with the elementals and or fae. Um, you refer to them always with respect. No, never underestimate their powers. Treat them as an equal in every way. Give them offers of value, of love. They love coins. They love shiny objects. Give more than taken. Offer food. Make a little elixir of milk, honey, and cinnamon. And, to be honest with you, they absolutely love that. Um, and it's funny because you will, if you have a garden, and especially a fairy garden, you can put these offerings out there.
Recording in progress.
Sentient energies are all around us. We are part of this. Our bodies are the elements. So why aren't we just as much in tune as they are? Well, ego, that's a big one. Ego is huge. We don't want to believe in the fairy tales, might look at, oh, you're crazy. No, they're there. They're absolutely out there. And they're beautiful beings to work with. The don't speak to them like a child. They do not like that. Don't assume that they are stupid. Underestimate their power and make them shake things up in your life, because I tell you, they will. They're tricksters. And some of them won't even tell you their real name. There'll be multiple names that you'll hear, even with dragons, because there's reptilian star race from Draco that are tricksters as well. So, and also, never move. If you make a fairy shrine, don't move it unless you ask permission. And you also, if you're out in the forest and you see a fairy yard garden, they're in your oceans, they're in your mountains, the forests, like I was saying. And anytime you go to these places, you feel a sense of calmness, a breath of fresh air, which is big with the air elementals, breath work. Um, Anywhere that's natural and countryside. They're not a fan of the city life, you know. Yet they are around, they're everywhere because there's nature is everywhere. Nature is my church, and we have to respect them just as much as they care for their surroundings like we do. Some of us will walk by a piece of trash on the side of the road and we'll pick it up and throw it away, while another will just walk by and ignore that trash. Well, the ones that do and do things for Mother Earth, um, they're going to be quicker to associate themselves with. Now, I will say, once you see, you can't unsee. So be ready if you're really interested in working with the elementals or dragons. Um, just be expected to be a little shocked, because not all of them are beautiful creatures. they're beautiful in their own imperfect way, but they can be a little some grotesque at some. You know, there's a lot of beings and energies out there that we're not aware of. And as we raise our consciousness to higher levels of degrees, um, we're going to start seeing more and more things. So keep that in mind. Um, there's a flower that's been in renowned tradition for centuries. It's called the snapdragon flower. For its supernatural protective powers against deceit, curses, and witchcraft, you will have that protection. And when the head of the flower is squeezed laterally, the dragon will open and close its mouth, you know, back and forth. And after the flower dies, the remaining pod looks like a dragon skull. Okay. And for you ladies that are listening, you can eat the flowers and it restores beauty and youthfulness. So there you go. But the snapdragon flower, I've looked for these. They're only in season once in a while. So I believe it's springtime, actually. So speaking of spring, let's just spring right on into the air elementals, direction of the east. And these are ruled, or the elemental ruler is sylphs. Now, remember air, look at the characteristics of our zodiac signs Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, like we talked about yesterday in the elemental dragons. Each of these elements are going to be directive towards that same concept of the zodiac signs. So sylph is derived from the Greek sylphi, meaning butterfly. Their spirits of the air can control the weather. They send off the high vibrations among all of the four elementals. Air spirits control the wind, flow of air currents, and atmospheric conditions. They're powerful beings. You can see when a storm comes in, those clouds will move fast, slow. They're in full control. And you'll see them in the clouds. They'll form.
Recording in
Across
progress.
an angel and a fairy, which is beautiful. They also help birds migrate and flowers pollinate. You know, wind blows pollen uh, and pollinates. Keep that in mind as well that the, the wind and the sylphs do a lot for Mother Earth, and it moves negative out of the way too, because it also helps with humans, new directions, new beginnings, new thoughts, creative thoughts. They're big at that. Um, they're also responsible for inspirational art and inventions. So sylphs are a big part of our lives. We don't even know it. So next time the wind's blowing out there, go outside in the wind. Speak.
Recording in progress.
So you're most going to find them atop mountains. You know, compared to other elementals, sylphs are the most beautiful. Like I mentioned, they're a cross between an angel and a fairy. Okay. And they can also assume human form for short periods of time, which I think is pretty cool. because you never know. You might meet someone that's very flowy and, just a way about their walk or something like a muse, a muse for sure. So they're also givers of wishes and dreams. They're commonly seen as white light bouncing around, similar to orbs. You've seen orbs bounce around. You might want to take a look behind me. You might see some. Air elementals are known to be sympathetic to humans and proponents of significant creative ideas. I already mentioned that as well. They give you ideas constantly, every breath, connected with the breath and breathing. Inhale, exhale, all is well. So, and ask yourself now, like, how many times have you looked up into the clouds and was like, wow, what that looks like a bird, or that looks like a frog, whatever you see is in your mind's eye and in with your own two eyes. So you're seeing it. So, throat chakra, fire elementals, direction of the south, salamander, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Those are your fire signs, right? All of these in the fire elemental realm are salamanders or lizard-like. Um, they're very powerful. They're they actually in ancient times they say that they taught the purpose of fire to man. The life-giving and destructive power of it. They also work through our liver, bloodstream, and emotions alongside as keeping us warm. So you can call upon the fire elementals and ask them to cleanse your bloodstream, your blood flow. And they will assist you. You just got to ask for assistance, ask for help. You got to give them permission. Just like working with angel. They're not coming and help unless you ask them, you know. These spirits are highly knowledgeable with magic and always need feeding or absorption of outside energy to fuel their fire. Fire spirits ignite fire and sustain life in this world. They're in charge of keeping everything going from creation to transformation to destruction. But it sounds like the alchemical process, doesn't it? This is all alchemy, believe it or not. The elementals, the mystical, it's all alchemical. Because we're all of the elements. They can reside anywhere. It means the beast is sleeping and resting. But when it erupts, the the tongue of fire rolls down the volcano and is lava. Talking about the fire dragon, as we did yesterday, Fafnir. The only way you're going to meet him is if you're in the top of the volcano. And these fire creatures are all about passion, desires, and usually blue light. And they always come in the form of dragons. The fire is fire gaze or scry. If you're doing a bonfire, I'm sure you've seen things in the fire pits, that are very interesting and unusual. Those are your fire elementals. They're coming to play, and they'll sit and they'll dance, and they'll play in the fire while you're just kicking back, strumming a guitar. These are the Undine. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio are your zodiac signs because of water. The Undines, they're just water nymphs. That's all they are. There's nothing special about the word Undine, except for that's Latin for wave. That's all it really means. But they're just water nymphs. Um, they're very powerful because in every drop there is knowledge and of energies that can flow. Hence, while we go to the ocean to cleanse, well, that water takes all of our emotions away. So the water elementals actually deal with a lot of human um, garbage on top of their normal oxygenation control in the waters, the and pollution. They affect our souls and human emotions. Coral caves, lakes, rivers, seas, marshlands, waterfalls is where you're going to find all of them. Beneath lily pads, also. They're all about karma and rulers of the underworld. Now, here's that little dark side again. The underworld, the unseelie. And they appear as pink lights. These beings look like humans, except for those who live in tiny streams and ponds. You might find them along a body lake, or hiding in the waterfall, stimmerness, The Undines are known as friendly and approachable spirits and will gladly work with humans. They teach us about how the power emotions play in the ebb and flow of creation within ourselves, within the world, and how mastering navigating these seas brings the peace we have always sought after. Now, just think about it when you're going sitting by a beach or sitting on a lakeside. You feel this very calming, um, releasing energy. You know, it's a beautiful feeling, and it's great. Um, I live in the desert, so the best I get is a shower. You know, we don't have no natural bodies unless I go north 2 hours, and then I can go to the forest and stuff. But there's lakes around. Anywhere there's water, bodies of water, you're going to be able to um, work with the elementals. There's one that was a few blocks away from me, and it was real tough, garbage everywhere. And what I did was I was walking the bike path, and I saw this like just this disgusting. Yeah, you just got to know how to speak with them and be with them. It's all about respect of nature. Nature is beautiful, so keep that in mind. They're always around. Hot springs too, yes, definitely. Um, that would be more of your fire elementals versus your water. But hot springs will also have a lot of these water elementals as well because it's a body of water. So, and as far as mermaids go, I'm not going to classify them as an elemental or that they're their own in itself when it comes to the oceans and bodies of water. So a lot of people will bring in the fact that mermaids are part of it. I like to keep it separate because I don't see them as elementals. That's if you believe in mermaids, or mermen, because they are mermen as well, mermaids and mermen. It's an actual incarnation. Um, Maybe I'll put together a realm readers class, and we can go over a couple of different realms. So let's move on to the earth elementals, direction of north. And this is your gnome. We all know the garden gnome, right? They're everywhere. And we're names for all elementals. There's various names and beings in
Recording
the
in
forest.
progress.
If you really go deep in the middle of nowhere land, you will see some of these beings that you could only think of reading out of a children's folklore book, you know? You never know. Um, they're all about the land. They feel everything when it comes to um, energy of Mother Earth. You know, the life force in trees, flowers, all living things. And they also want you to make sure that they thrive to heal. So when you work with an earth being, we're really very close to the earth beings, the earth elementals, because we're like trees, you know, we're walking on Mother Earth. We have our crown and we have our roots, right? Like if you follow a chakra system, it's just the same concept. We are trees, we're lightning in a bottle, if you really break it down, you know. Um, they love working with magic soil, trees, mountains, plants, roots, precious stones. These spirits are always around and they will cause earthquakes, floods, um, thunderstorms, and wildfires. But they do it to sustain and to resurrect the area. But they'll never um, hurt us in the middle of it. These are out in the middle of nowhere where so gnomes, they usually will appear as brownies, and brownies are like, you know, sometimes they'll be in your home, but you know, the typical gnome with the long beard will be in your backyard, uh, living under a tree stump, um, hiding in a tree under roots. They're definitely underground beings, inner earth. So you want to keep that in mind. They're known to help humans who have established a connection with them and have been treating nature well. Again, if you treat nature well, they will respond back in gifting you what you need in the moment, you know? These earthly elementals are givers of material gains and are green light flashes that you'll see in the periphery of your vision, you know? So you might look at that and but keep an eye out the next time you're in the forest and you're looking at the trees and just the beautiful lush greenery of it all. They will pop up and you never know which elemental you're going to cross paths with. So that's the elementals, guardians. We're not done yet. We're going to have a little fun and you're going to see which elemental guardian you can specifically work with by just knowing your name. So if you have a piece of paper and pen or pencil and paper, write out your full name, birth name, your birth given name. So I'll give you a few seconds to jot that down. Now, in your name, guardian, elemental guardian. So if you have an I, that's fire element, and that's Fafnir, is the elemental dragon, and a salamander is your elemental guardian. If it's you, that's earth, that would be Grail as your guardian dragon, or a gnome as your elemental guardian. Air is E, and that's Ceres as your elemental dragon, and a Sylph as your elemental guardian. O is water, and that's Nelion as the elemental dragon, and Undine as your elemental guardian. Now there's also A, which is your ether and chaos. If it is A, that's ether and chaos, which is a combination of all of them. And whichever form you take, it's going to be amplified. So if you are chaos, then you are very powerful. And it seems like you're always in the middle of the storm, the eye of the storm. So just to recap: fire, I, Fafnir, salamander; earth, you, grail, gnome; air, E, Ceres, sylph; water, O, Nalion or Undine; and ether and chaos is A. So I hope you have enjoyed this 2-day workshop and completing the elementals today. There's always something out there to, you're never alone. There's a lot of us that have, some thoughts of, oh, we're always alone, we have no one to talk to. It might sound crazy, but believe it or not, they're waiting for us to communicate. They want to help. They want to work with us. And they love us. They love us like they love nature, because we walk amongst them. So those of you on Windows of the World on live, thank you so much. Magical blessings on your journey. And those of you in our Lamaskar membership, we can have a Q&A. I believe we're going to log off live and we're going to have a private little party. If everybody is around.
Recording stopped.
Fun stuff.
That was awesome.